What's going on, people? There was some lovely, comments and messages you guys gave me for the last clip, and some of you suggested that we should get to know each other, with stories and stuff. So today I thought I'd tell you the story of how my dad broke out of jail. Well, not really broke out of jail. The title is a bit clickbaity, but he kind of broke out of jail with the possibility of achieving something much more Shawshank Redemption-esque at a real level. So me and my dad, we have a strange relationship. I grew up hating him, but I also, as I grew older and he grew older, I ended up respecting him and seeing the good parts of him. And then I grew even older, and then I kind of saw some fucking things in me that was in him. And that's why the fucking board in my kitchen, I'm sorry, in the lounge area of this Romercial studio over here, in my kitchen, that's why, this is one of the things is like, don't be the worst parts of your dad. And I take that to heart, but that doesn't mean he's a, he's a bad guy. We have a strange relationship. We're quite alike, and it's sometimes funny how oblivious he is to some things. Like my grandfather, he was a gardener in a town called Cernavodă in Romania, and his dream for my father was to take over the garden. Gardener as in like he sold like vegetables, he grew them, and like he had like lots of land and shit. And my dad was always like, fuck that, I'm gonna do my own way, right? And he did, and he broke away. He grew from nothing, and he did all sorts of things, from repairing TVs to like making candlesticks for fucking churches, all sorts of shit. You know the story where he swallowed a fucking like a fistful of gold and then he pooped it out so he can like sell it. If you don't know, I'll put a link like there. It should pop up. That's on my other channel, the vlogging channel. But yeah, it's funny how he's oblivious to things, because he grew up and he made a company, and his dream was always for me to take over. And I was always like that. I want to fill my own shoes, and he never could see like the parallel in it, because I was like, Dad, Grandpa wanted you to do that, and you did your own thing, and now I'm doing my thing. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that we have similarities. And when he was younger, he repaired TVs, like the old communist, like fucking like bulby with the fucking things. He used to repair those. When I was like 20, I used to install pirated versions of Windows to all sorts of people, and something to make a buck. I always kind of drew this parallel with him. See, you were doing that shit, I was doing this shit. Now you have your thing, now I'm trying to do my thing, so you don't have to get upset, like, sell the business, be old with mom, like, find hobbies. I don't need any of this shit. He never saw the parallel. That's something I look like I await for myself to happen when I'll have kids eventually, and I'm gonna keep that red light on, like try not to be that part, because he's so disappointed. It only hurts him. Anyway, this is a story where in the town where he met my mom, it's a village actually, it's called Topalu. It is good. It sounds very Russian. It is like where we take women and beat them if they don't make children and food. So he was repairing TVs. He was a TV repairman. And one night, he got shit-faced because a small village, fucking communist Romania, we're talking before I was born, like 86. Like, what the fuck can you do in a town, in a village where all you can do is fish and get drunk and chase village pussy? That's the way, baby. That's what you. Those are boring times. We take it for granted. Like, now we have too much stimulation. So he got shit faced, and of course, like an idiot, his house, like where he lived in that village to do that job, it was up the main street. And being a village, there's only one main street, and then just fucking pitfalls or whatever. So he jumped into his shitty car, shit-faced. We're talking about, that's how he says it. Like, he couldn't see straight. Now, I know I'm trying to justify a DUI, but there were different times, all right? He's a product of a different generation. He would never do it now. He realizes his wrongdoings, and he would never advise me to do such things. But he was like, son, I got in the fucking car. I was wasted. I worked on fucking TVs, and I got in the car. So he goes, that road must have been like, what, 2-3 kilometers to his house, and he starts driving. Now he spots in the distance a police car. So when he spots the police car, he immediately realizes, I am basically fucked. Halfway in between his shop, the way he says it, and the policeman, he stops the car middle road. He flashes his headlights, right? Opens the door and starts running to his shop, like backwards. He stops middle way from his car where he stopped it to the shop, and he starts running back to the car. In the meanwhile, the police, of course, you know, they were stopping him. They realized something's fucking fishy, so they started advancing towards the car from the other direction, and he was running backwards to his car, like trying to bullshit. Like he gets there, like the police are already there, like fucking wasted, like fucking sweating. Talking about his car got stolen. Now this was a communism era village, so there must have been like, there was a local precinct and like 5 cops. That was it in that village, right? So they all knew each other. And my dad's nickname is, his name is Dumitru, but his nickname is Titty. I know, you know, to English it translates awesomely, but that's how they call him, Titty. And they're like, Titty, just admit you're shit-faced and you got in the car and none of this shit, okay? He's like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Admit you're drunk. He's like, yeah, of course I admit I am drunk, but I just left my fucking repair shop and started running because somebody snatched the car from the repair shop and just bolted. And now I reached the car and you guys started, instead of looking for the fucking culprit, you accuse me of, yes, I'm drunk. A man can have a drink. They're like, Titty, you're not fooling fucking anybody. Down to the precinct. And they had a local precinct. So they put him inside. This is like the level of security back in those times. He describes it like a big room, and just the corner of the big room there was like grates, like jail grates, and they just put him inside the jail. They handcuffed him. And my dad, like, I have a big ass fucking palm. My dad has double my fucking palm and like thick fucking fingers, but they're also fucking mobile. Like, grab my strong hand, you know what I mean? So he bullshitted. He was like, ouch, that's too tight. And you know, they were friends. They kind of, the policeman, like, they were friends of his. They drank together in that village after work, but they were just fucking doing their duty. And he was like, fuck, it's too tight, you know? And they kind of like put it one click above, but he can dislocate this freaky fucking finger. The second thing they didn't do is like check his pockets, and he had his like little repairman tools, and they just left the fucking like multifunctional tool thing in his pocket. And they locked him inside and closed the grate too. And they're like, yeah, you're fucking, this is it for the night. Like, you should think about what you did, and maybe you can have a conversation in the morning. Now, on the opposite side of the room, there was like the commander of the precinct's desk, where they put his wallet. They did take his wallet with the ID and shit, right? So he dislocated his fucking finger, got out of his handcuff. He was handcuffed to the, you know, in the jail cell, but to the bench too, and to the grate, right? He pulled his hand out. He took his multifunctional tool. He picked the lock because it was this basic fucking 1984 fucking lock probably. He went to the desk. He pulled out his wallet. He had 200 lei. We're talking about maybe the equivalent of $100 in today's money, I want to say. So he took that money, and on the chief's desk there was a bunch of books that looked like they were never moved in ages, and on those books there was a phone, like a fucking, like a rotary phone, old school shit. And he took the phone, he put it aside, he took the 200 lei, he put them in between the books, he put the phone back on the books, and he went back to his jail cell. He locked it, he locked his handcuffs again, and he just waited for morning. In the morning they show up. They're like, Titty, hey, grow up. They're like, motherfucker, admit you did it so we can fucking book you. And he's like, I didn't fucking do it. And you can prove that? Just let me go. Come on, guys. Fucking let me go. I wasn't hurting anybody. Just kept him, just admit it. They couldn't prove it, so they let him go. The chief of police, you know, being friends and shit, after a couple of nights them met together, they're like, he was like, Titty, come on, man. Now it's between us. You're off the hook. Just admit you did it. And I want you to admit that you did it because I'm a nice guy, and I could have sent you to the next big city where the big jail was. I could have sent you there and put you through all sorts of hell, and at least give me this, like, give me the fact that I left you off the hook. And my dad goes, well, I'll give you that, but you should know something too. If I would have went down there, I would have taken you with me. He's like, what do you mean? Here's what I did. You guys didn't handcuff me properly. You didn't take my tools. I broke out and I put 200 lei in those books under the telephone. He's like, okay, so what good would have that done you? You know, since I could have said it was mine. He's like, nah, because before I did that, I took the serial numbers of each ones and I wrote them somewhere in your office on the walls in different spots, and they're here. And when they would have asked me, how can I prove that those are yours? I just would have told them where to look for those serial numbers. And then, buddy boy, we would have been fucked together. But he's like, I'm glad you didn't. So he bought him a drink and they stayed friends like years after that. We're talking tens of years. That's how my dad got out of jail. Now, I have a ton of stories like this from my life, from his life. So I think I'm gonna start sharing these with you guys. Maybe it'll offer some contrast because, you know, my dad taught me a lot of things. He put things in perspective a lot. He wouldn't let me take things for granted, but he always offered me chances to like learn for myself too. So maybe, you know, these stories at least will put some things in perspective for you. And if not anything else, like, you should be studying now anyway, asshole. So fuck you. You're wasting your own time. You could have jerked off by now, but you chose to look at this dick instead of yours. That's, you know, that's on you, buddy. So join me next time, kids, when I'm gonna tell you the story where he lit all my clothes on fire and I lit his car on fire. Or maybe the story of how I smoked weed with my folks a couple of years ago. We have some stories. Tune in next week and thank you for listening, motherfuckers.
Yeah, so you can tell me how hard you had it, and you can show me all the scars to back it. And we can analyze each complaint, break it down and explain these mistakes I make. I like to tangle up the strings of the puppetry, but you knew me back when I was a younger me. You've seen Sean in all types of light, and I've been meaning to ask you if I'm doing alright. Yesterday, was that you? Look just like you.